Hey there, YouTubers. Tonight I'm bringing to you a extra sort of special review. This time I'm going to be taking a look at NB Liquor's Selection Lager. This one is like a store brand at local NB liquor stores. Being from New Brunswick, I have seen this floating around. It was debuted, I believe, in 2009, and I believe it's brewed by the Moosehead Brewing Company in St. John, New Brunswick. Other than that, it's just a basic 5% alcohol lager, product of Canada, www.anbl.com. There really isn't anything more to say with it other than it's just a store brand lager. That kind of thing is actually very uncommon in Canada. I've heard of store brand lagers like President's Choice for Superstore, or Loblaws, or like other different brands like Costco or something, but because the liquor store system in New Brunswick is government owned, like it is in Nova Scotia and Ontario, there's no store brands aren't common because they're all sold in like government owned liquor stores. In this case, the New Brunswick government decided to introduce a type of beer that was cheap, that was a store brand, and when this first debuted, it came out at about $12 cans for $18.67. 1867 being the foundation of Canada and also the foundation of the Moosehead Brewery. Other than that, not a whole lot's known, and there's not a whole lot to know about this type of beer other than it's just 5% basic booze. Let's give it a shot. Pour it into my 1985 Canada Games mug for that nostalgia factor. 1985, the Canada Games were hosted in St. John, New Brunswick. I actually went to them when I was 5 years old. I don't really remember a whole lot. So, appearances. It looks like a lager. It's got a fair bit of carbonation inside the beer itself. Let's see if you can see that. It's coming off as like a straw yellow color. Basically just straw yellow. The stovetop here kind of gives it a more deeper yellow color than it actually is. It's pretty much just straw yellow. The head on top was one finger. It slowly died to one half a finger, but the foam's actually somewhat finer bubbles. Yeah, it looks like a beer. Let's give it a sniff. You get a mild hop smell. Kind of a metallic smell. It's kind of like that English hop smell typical of Alpine lager. But it's fainter. Like Alpine's a much stronger smelling beer. This one here is kind of like a mild kind of smell. Its smell is kind of between that of Alpine lager and Moosehead lager. No surprise considering it comes from the Moosehead Brewery. There's almost no scent of anything else in that smell. Let's give it a taste. Again, it comes off with like a mildly hoppy taste, like that same kind of hop that's in the smell. On the mid back of the tongue. Very, very, very faint hints of toasted grains, adjuncts. It's got almost no flavor at all. There's almost like a mild sweetness to the very, very back of the throat. And a little bit of sweetness throughout the entire beer. Yeah. Yeah, it's basically mildly bitter on the back of the tongue. Sort of light sweetness throughout the body of the beer, and apparent in the aftertaste. And there might be some small hints of toasted grain, but other than that, it's just a basic swill lager. With a touch of a metallic taste. Yeah, which is what it's intended for. It's basically meant to be a basic generic beer brought to you by NB Liquor. I mean, don't expect miracles. Now that I've been talking, I detected a small hint of corn and breadiness coming out of the aftertaste, but as for drinkability, it's nice and smooth. Actually, it's very soft. It's decently carbonated. The finer bubbles give it a nice, not velvety, very, very far from velvety, but it's more like a plush softness. It's not a chorus beer. And that's definitely a passable drinkable lager. Is it a fantastic beer by any means? No. Is it anything special? Absolutely not. But for a generic beer intended as a store brand, it's actually pretty decent. Is it one of my favorites? No. Will I buy this again? I would drink this beer if I were handed it because it's actually drinkable. Would I recommend it if you're looking to save a few bucks and just get a beer to drink rather than a specific brand? Yeah, I mean, like if you were to compare a brand like this, like you would compare like a generic President's Choice or Big 8 or Compliments brand cola or something to Coca-Cola. I mean, Coca-Cola and Pepsi hands down win. This is kind of like introducing RC Cola to Coca-Cola. It's actually a half decent, cheaper knockoff. But it's right in that ballpark with like Moosehead Lager and Alpine. Not as good as Alpine. I'm going to give this a passing grade of 2.5 out of 5 just because I find it tolerable and drinkable. It's very drinkable. Yeah, that's not too bad. I don't mind it at all. But will I say it's an American beer? No. That's why you're getting a 2.5 out of 5, because 2.5 out of 5 is my passing grade. I'm giving you like a D minus. There's almost no taste to that at all. But kudos for being something that I'm not going to dump down the sink. Cool. Cheers.